starting with the big NWA World title match between Jeff Jarrett and Christian Cage, which is the main event of Against All Odds 2006. The January 21st Impact is built around teasing after the Final Resolution main event of Sting and Christian Cage against Jeff Jarrett and Monty Brown. Sting is about to appear on television, but the whole first episode this month is built around Sting actually not appearing on television.
Yeah, like, it's such a funny bit to be like, pay-per-view, Sting's here, wow, things are crazy. And then the next TV show to be like, wow, Sting's not here anymore.
But, like, the first half of it is like, Sting will be here tonight. This Sting's first appearance on TV since WCW. Sting will be here tonight. And then halfway through the episode, it's like, Sting's not here tonight, he'll be here next week.
He's late.
How do you feel about that as, like, a bait and switch? Do you think, like, some of the audience will be like, what the fuck, Sting?
Well, I think it's very bold to start off Sting's run with a he isn't here regardless. I think that doing a bait and switch is worse than the bad decision.
Yeah, so this episode opens with Don West in the car park. He's awaiting the arrival of Sting. He's like, Sting's gonna be here tonight. He's gonna be on TV for the first time. Mike Tenay on commentary for the whole show is like, Sting, Sting's here. And then, like, halfway through, Franchise is with Larry Zbyszko, and Franchise is like, dude, what's the deal? Sting's not here. And Larry's like, Sting has been delayed. He'll be here next week, and we'll also have an announcement about Jeff Jarrett's Against All Odds opponent. And then Franchise is like, ooh, we did loads of things with Sting. Is something wrong with Sting? What's going on with Sting? And then Monty comes in and shouts about how he wants the world title shot, and he steals the world title contract from him.
I love how defensive Larry Z gets, because, like, the implication being at this point that he's, like, fumbling Sting.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's nothing wrong with Sting. Stop saying there's something wrong with Sting.
Like, hey, stop it. Everything's going fine. He'll be here next week.
And everyone's like, yeah. They're like, how did you fuck this?
Yeah, so Larry had, like, the world title contract, and he's like, there's going to be a name on it, but then Monty comes in and steals it.
What? Monty is, like, so weird this year.
That's because they don't know what to do with him.
But, like, especially this month, he's just, like, a weird freak. And more than normal.
There's a promo on the pay-per-view where, like, Jarrett's doing his interview and Monty interrupts him, and Jarrett's like, I know what you're going to say. I want my title shot. Pounds period. Be hunter, be hunted. Serengeti. It's like, yeah, that is actually what Monty says in every one of his promos. But also, Jeff Jarrett is not one allowed to say you cut the same promo every week.
But also, it's like, they're really, like, turning him again.
Well, because, like, Jarrett's the heel champion, so they have to put Monty opposed to Jarrett somewhat.
But, like, the whole point was that he was, like, heel with Jarrett, and now they're, like...
He's back to being like, I want your title. You're not wrong.
Out of nowhere. Like, there wasn't, like, a switch for it. It was just, like, 1 week he decided, oh, yeah, I want to be a champion again.
So Christian comes out at the end of the show. He's like, Sting can't be here because he's watching the life story of Monty Brown and Jeff Jarrett at the movies. That's Brokeback Mountain.
Owned, because they're gay, you get it?
They're gay, Liam. Yes, they're gay.
Because gay.
Have you considered they're gay? Jokes.
Because they're gay.
Christian says that Sting will have a major announcement to make next week. Jarrett comes out and says the usual stuff, but he says, I don't care who faces me. He actually names drops Chris Jericho here as well as a potential option. He's like, your pal Chris Jericho.
People got so excited after he said the name too. And I'm like, don't tease them.
Monty comes out. Rhino makes the save. Both Christian and Rhino eye up the contract because Monty brought the contract with him. Rhino goes to pick it up. Christian stands on it. Then Abyss shows up and we get more brawling as Monty picks up the contract, looks at it for himself. It's like, what if I got the title shot to Alpha Male?
And it's like, okay, I get, yeah, because we're getting close to the end of Monty, aren't we?
Yeah, we get to July, I think, July or August, and that's the end of Monty. So we are running out of time.
So he has to go be Marcus Corvan.
No, then he never returns.
You're going down.
Just call me smooth.
To be fair, if Monty had that theme in TNA, he would have been world champion. Because that theme is amazing.
The January 28th Impact opens with Jeff Jarrett versus Jay Lethal.
Fun combination, considering.
Yeah, Jarrett gives Lethal a lot here as well. Like, Jarrett doesn't just squash him. He gives, like, a proper near fall. Because Jackie Gata comes out with a tape recorder. She hands it to Gail, and as Jarrett insists, nothing is wrong. What are you talking about? Everything's fine. Lethal hits, like, a great springboard dropkick and then gets a little near fall on a diving headbutt before Jarrett beats him with a stroke in which Lethal, like, leapt 16 feet in the air for.
Yeah. It's so funny that, like, they're wrestling each other at, like, in one of, like, you know, Lethal's first 5 matches?
First 5? Yeah, he wrestled Joe, and he had another match on TV, alright, didn't he? So maybe his 3rd or 4th?
Yeah, and then, like, you know, now Lethal and Jarrett are, like, on TV linked.
I didn't even think about that until right now. It's like, oh yeah, these guys are in a stable at AEW.
Yeah, they're in Heat. They just wrestled the Bang Bang Scissor
I
Gang
did see that, with teaming with the Dark Order for some reason.
because they're all heels.
The stroke was the more perplexed move of the night, in case you were wondering.
Oh, had AEW first week that we had a move of the night
Did they do that recently?
this week.
Oh, who was it sponsored by?
The EVP trigger was the move of the night. I'll find out who it was.
Was it Morphoplex?
It was not. I would have freaked the fuck out if it was Morphoplex. The TurboTax move of the night.
Oh.
TurboTax is too close to fucking Morphoplex.
It does feel in the same universe, doesn't it? Christian comes out and announces that he will be the one that will be challenging it against all odds, and he promised to end the reign of terror because that's how he rolls.
Reign of Terror, a term of phrase copyrighted by MJF. I learnt in my jumping throughs.
No, like actually?
Yeah, he copyrighted the term Reign of Terror.
Oh, for God's sake. By the way, Jarrett's only been champion since November, so of all the reigns, this has been the least terrible. Not terrible, terrible.
It's still terrible.
Jay Lethal got his contract offer because he impressed Jeff Jarrett in their match at this match.
Not because of his sweet match with Samoa Joe.
No, he got in there with Jeff, and Jeff was like, oh, now I'll give him a contract. He didn't get the offer until after the tapings, and contrary to the report in last week's issue, he has not signed as of press time. He hasn't even read the contract as of the weekend, but gave indications he would probably end up signing. He may be stalling to see if WWE will make him a bona fide offer, but they didn't. JB has been pushing him for months after seeing him in Ring of Honor, but others thought he wasn't quite ready when his name first came up. But pretty much the consensus now is they're impressed with him.
How did you feel about Jay Lethal as like face of the company ROH guy?
I liked Jay Lethal a lot in like X Division era. Like this year, basically up to when he wins the X title and like with the Black Machismo stuff. I really liked him as that because he was like a plucky underdog babyface who was really explosive. And I feel like post TNA, he was trying too hard to be like some version of like Nick Aldis, you know, like I am a credible NWA champion style champion who works like Ric Flair style matches that are like slow paced building.
Yeah, he was trying to like bring a certain like workhorse element to the ROH title for a while there.
Yeah, and like it wasn't the kind of like I'm gonna have these really cool matches. It was like there was like a traditionalism to what he was trying to do that I just never vibed with. Like it was too slow, it was too kind of boring, as opposed to like the wrestler. Like you watch this match against Jeff Jarrett and he's really explosive. Like he gets it when he's doing like the springboard dropkick, when he takes the bump on the stroke, he hits the diving headbutt for the near fall. Like you watch this Jay Lethal and you're like, this Jay Lethal's a really exciting pro wrestler. And the guy who ended up like anchoring Ring of Honor was a guy who was like really like, I am working what is very traditionally considered a good wrestling match, and I just found it really boring.
And now he's kind of like halfway in between because he's not like getting 30-minute main events anymore. He gets like his 20 minutes on TV. I will say I really enjoyed him in the C2, but that could have been because the C2 was just awesome and everyone was great in it.
Yeah, everyone was just having good matches on TV every week. Isn't that fun?
Garrett, tell them about your dream pitch, which I thoroughly agree with.
What, did I just dream that they just had a second full-fledged G1?
Yeah.
It wasn't even like a best of the Super Juniors. It was just like AEW decided to do 2 round robin tournaments a year with main eventers instead of 1.
Was it a full like 8 and 8?
I don't think my dream fleshed it out that much.
Oh, I wanted to see like I was gonna ask you who was in the blocks.
Because I remember I think the match in my dream was like Samoa Joe against Mox as like a G1 match, but AEW G1, but it was like June, so it wasn't the C2. And I was like, in my dream, I was like, they're doing another round robin? Really?
They should. That'd be awesome. You know how you differentiate it?
How?
You do 8 and 8.
Yeah.
Bigger stars in it. 15-minute time limits, so it has more draws, but everything's quicker and you can get through stuff more.
Yeah, good matches instead of long matches.
I mean, come on. It was a 20-minute time limit on all the things. It's perfect.
No, the C2 also had good matches instead of long matches, so thumbs up.
Yeah. Man, the C2 reinvigorated my love of that company.
Yeah, I think it did for a lot of people.
And then it kind of went back down again, and now it's back.
The end of this episode of Impact, Mike Tenay introduces Sting, who still comes out to his bad butt rock song this time. I don't like it.
Yeah, what the hell? Where's the real Sting theme?
Sting does this promo about how he thought the match against Flair in 2001 would be his last match, and then how he's like, I missed the roar of the crowd, I didn't get to go out on my own terms. He talks through his career, talks through the big moments of his career. TNA called him and he turned on the TV and he saw Styles and Joe and Abyss and was like, TNA is my brand. Talks about how Final Resolution was the perfect moment, how he didn't have closure 5 years ago, but now he does. So after Final Resolution went so well, he didn't want to sully that moment. He didn't want to take it down a notch. So Sting left. Sting is retired. He thanks Dixie Carter and the Carter family. He thanks the fans. He doesn't want to taint that moment. So he said goodbye, says thank you, leaves his bat in the ring, and leaves as the crowd chant, please don't go. AJ, Sabin, and Sanjay greet him on the ramp. Christian greets him at the top of the ramp as well. I was like, what the hell, dude? And Christian looks befuddled as Sting walks down the tunnel. So the big angle with Sting is that he's gone.
All of the Christian stuff from this point on, like, skews heelish. And Garrett Kinney may be sitting there like, well, yeah, he turns heel in like 3 months, whatever. But I don't know that. And I just thought it was interesting that it's like, he kind of comes across whiny for the rest of the month.
Yeah, like it doesn't strike me as they're teasing a heel turn, because why would they? He's about to become world champion as a babyface. So like,
that's why I thought it was weird timing. And why I didn't believe the title change on the show.
They do turn him in like July, August. But yeah, he does. It is kind of weird that he's like, what the hell, Sting? You left. And he's on the phone to Sting at points during the month. He's just hanging around with Sting.
And then he's like, I'm not getting the title shot just because Sting left.
Because yeah, that's the whole idea, that like the contract is open because Sting is leaving.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, I thought he was really like sort of cowardly and heelish throughout the rest of this month.
I did think,
but of course he's facing like the biggest coward of all, so it kind of evens out.
I did think Sting's promo was really good here.
Yeah, it's nice to hear Sting talk. AEW should let him do that.
They don't do it nearly enough. I kind of hate, because it's very funny. Like, WCW Sting was not a promo guy. Like, he very famously, for an entire year, did not talk. He stood in the rafters and pointed at people. Like, he was not known for cutting promos in WCW. Whereas, like, TNA Sting really is a promo guy. He does loads of promos in TNA, and he's really, really, really good. And it's a shame that AEW don't let him talk. I know there was some discourse about Darby Allin's promo on Dynamite, just because of the kind of,
I like
the worked shoot part. I understand the criticisms in that, like, he just murdered you and your friend. Why are you talking about, like, the start of AEW? You should just be like, you murdered me and my friend and we're going to kill you. I kind of get that. But yeah, just get Sting out there to do that promo. To do the, like, you tried to take me out before I could even retire on my own terms, but I'm going to get my revenge at the pay-per-view. To get Sting out there to cut that kind of promo, and he'll fucking rock it.
Well, let's see if they let him do that on Wednesday.
If Sting doesn't talk before that Revolution match, like, that's a booking dereliction of duty. Like, what are you doing? Like, the only reason you do a beatdown, which the beatdown was awesome. Like, it was a great beatdown. But the beatdown is then only as effective as, like, the babyface promo vowing revenge, which is a step people forget all the goddamn time. Like, if you beat down a babyface, the babyface has to do the revenge promo. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Like, if the babyface doesn't vow to get revenge, like, what's the point of the beatdown? But you gotta send Sting out there next week to cut that big fiery promo, because like the only real promo he's done is the MJF one, isn't it? And that one was great. He was so good there.
He has not been promoing much in this company.
He doesn't talk in AEW either. He just stands around and points, as opposed to, like, this promo was really good in TNA. Like his delivery is great.
I also want to put it out there because it needs to happen, and I need to be on record if it doesn't happen. Sting needs to have the Muda theme medley at his retirement.
They're releasing that EP with the, like, themes through the years next week, and you'd have to imagine that will then form the basis of his last entrance, right?
Yeah, but I want the real songs.
But those are close enough. They can't get the real song.
They could get the Sting one.
They could get
the Sting one, the TNA one.
They should be able to get the TNA one, but
they can get the TNA one. They got the fucking Metallica one for goddamn Wembley.
But you wouldn't be able to get the couple of the other WCW ones.
You could ask Paul. Maybe he wants some good press right now.
He doesn't need the WWF one or WWE one, because that one's bad.
Yeah, but like you can get the WCW one if you ask nicely, probably. And what else do you need? Man Cold Sting.
Because the WCW one, the non-Metallica one, is good. They're like do 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 do. I love that name.
Do, 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 do. Yeah, but like he needs to have that medley. And if you have to replace the ones that you can't get from WCW, fine. But like you need the other ones that you can get.
Get the Main Event Mafia team too.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. The Wolf. Oh, he fucking needs the Wolfpack team too as well. Get Jimmy Hart on the phone. WWE don't own the Wolfpack song. Jimmy Hart does. So you can get the Wolfpack song.
I'm sure, like, listen, this dude is the biggest fucking nerd in the world and a big Sting nerd. I'm sure he's had this exact same thought.
He better do it.
So, because also if that does happen, more importantly, that becomes the standard for wrestling retirements. Because if they do it with Muda and they do it with Sting, like that becomes what you just do, and that needs to be what you just do because it's so
Yeah,
cool.
I went back and watched the Muda one a couple months ago. It's like, oh, it's one of the best things about wrestling last year.
Like you do it with Brian too, and you can even do you can get Flight of the Valkyries.
Yeah.
Public domain, bitches.
So yeah, the point of this angle, Sting is gone. He's disappeared. He said he's walked away. But then the question throughout the rest of the month, particularly for Eric Young, is has he actually?
Because Eric Young, again, the one guy who can always see what's really going on in this company.
Sting was legitimately concerned with how the live crowd would react to him when he made his pay-per-view return last month. Wrestler said he was very nervous and openly questioned where he fit in on a roster that featured so many cruiserweight high flyers. He was nearly in tears when the crowd reacted favorably, and a wrestler says he was thrilled once he returned to the backstage area with the live crowd's response. So that's kind of charming that, like, even a guy, the success of Sting is like, will they remember me? Will they care?
He always has those kind of feelings, though. He's a very humble boy.
TNA on January 28th said its ratings record for the debut of Sting, doing a 1.08 rating on 1.26 million viewers. That's not actually a record for the audience. They did 1.28, so slightly more before, but it is a record for the actual rating. The Sting interview itself peaked with a 1.19 and added 17% new viewers over the 15 minutes. The important news here is the rating, unlike the past weeks, was not drawn due to UFC. UFC had a weak Unleashed show when it came to star power beforehand and only did a 0.07. So Sting, so shock of all shocks, a television draw.
Yeah. Oh, like, I mean, what did you expect? It's crazy to see these numbers, like just with 2024 wrestling eyes.
Yeah, and for like the history of Impact, 1.26 million viewers is on like the low side.
Yeah, like but like you look at now and you're like, they would kill for this.
Yeah, if AEW did 1.26 million for an episode of Dynamite, Tony Khan would be tweeting non-stop for 3 weeks. For every fourth Impact, Terry Taylor has Larry Zbyszko, and Larry's quite flustered about Sting. He's like, don't worry about it. Stop asking me about Sting disappearing. I did not fuck up Sting.
Please stop asking me about Sting. I didn't fuck it up. He will be here again, I promise.
So the big thing on this show is that there is a press conference for Christian Cage and Jeff Jarrett for the NWA World title match. Larry says that the championship committee has taken precautions to ensure that there is a fair winner. They roll out Dory Funk Jr. to put over the history and the legacy of the NWA title. Jarrett starts talking and naturally gets in his I brought TNA to Hulk Hogan line.
Which is so funny.
He gets it in no matter what.
He's like really hedging his career on that moment.
Well, because in WCW he never got one over on Hogan, whereas that's like the one time he sort of kind of got one over on Hogan, even though when you think about it, Hogan got one over on them because they shot the angle and never did the match. But still, he got the footage of him hitting Hogan with a guitar, so he wins.
Yeah, he bludgeoned him. It's like a very visceral shot. I understand, like, you know, using it, but it's almost become to the point of parody, though, which I do appreciate.
Every time there's a video package about the history of TNA, it's in there at the moment, so.
Yeah.
Somebody asked Jarrett about Jackie Gata, and he shouted them down. Monty interrupted, demanding the next shot. Abyss and Mitchell were watching from the back of the room. Christian and Jarrett did a pull apart as Larry desperately seemed like, Guys! Guys!
Guys, please stop ruining my show.
I really enjoy Larry Zbyszko. He's so good.
He's actually a very good GM style character.
Then end of the show, Planet Jarrett are talking to Alex Shelley. They want him to get dirt on Jackie Gata, and he's like, if you don't get the job done, don't come back, to which Shelley responds, stern ultimatum, but don't worry.
Stern ultimatum.
That segment ends with Eric Young, very paranoid, gets the camera, looks down the lens and says, Sting's not gone. So that's the conspiracy theory.
Eric is very scared. We're really getting the beginnings of the true Eric Young ethos.
Yeah, because he's been jumpy for the last while, you know, ever since they got on Spike, he's kind of started to be like Eric Young, the character, where he's like paranoid and he's not confident and he's scared of the pyro. And now he's like full on like, Sting's not gone, Sting's not gone.
I really loved at the pay-per-view. We'll just jump for a second when like Jarrett's first arriving and he's actually like treating Eric Young with like a level of weird respect. He's like, come on, buddy, what did you see?
He's like his dopey brother. He's like, come on, pal. Everything's gonna be fine. We're doing great. We don't need to worry about Sting. It's okay.
Eric is Jeff is like genuinely nice to the people in his like bad group of people.
He's a good leader.
Like he would, yeah. Well, yes. In the story, he is.
February 11th Impact Go Home show. There's just a couple of features on the show. There's a feature looking at Christian ahead of the pay-per-view main event, and then a feature on the Jarrett Christian match. And then the show ends with Christian walking out of TNA management's locker room. He's talking to Sting and says the referee situation is under control and promises to become world champion against all odds. So, not like the best build to Jarrett and Christian?
They're kind of playing off things that have already happened. Like, they probably don't feel like they need to do a lot of build for it because these two have been, like, feuding really for 3 months.
Yeah, and, like, I guess the idea is, like, Christian is, like, the audience buys Christian as, like, a babyface challenger to Jarrett. It's not like you have to convince them that this is a guy who can beat Jarrett or really make them care. You don't have to be worried that the audience won't care about Christian. You know, you don't have to do a ton of build to be like, oh, no, what if they don't care? Like, they will. People like Christian. They'll cheer for Christian. They'll be happy for Christian to win.
And, like, it's not like this is going to be a blood feud either.
So it is more the classic, I just want to take your title. It is, a lot of it's about Sting more than Christian, but listen. Against All Odds opens with Christian arriving at the building in a regular car, then Jarrett arrives with in a Jeep.
I love, like, oh, Christian, the everyman.
Yeah, with his normal car as opposed to Jarrett in his big Jeep. So as you said, this is a segment where Eric Young is like, once again reinforcing Sting isn't gone, Sting isn't gone. I love Scott D'Amore here. He's like, stop it. I told you, not tonight. You don't do this tonight, sir. And like, there's a moment where Eric Young and Jarrett are talking, and Scott is behind Jarrett being like, no, stop it, no, stop it.
Yeah, he's like doing like the wrap it up.
Yeah, don't you dare talk. But then Jarrett reassures EY and makes him repeat Sting is gone over and over again.
And then I think, doesn't it end with like Eric Young being like,
Yeah, he's not reassured. He is still scared of Sting.
Wouldn't we all be?
So there's a show running thing where for all the backstage segments with Planet Jarrett, with Rhino, with people like that, Larry walks in and reinforces that there will be no outside interference in the main event except for Gilkim. But other than Gilkim, there is no outside interference. No one is allowed to interfere.
She's the only one who's allowed to be there.
She has a manager's license.
She is, yeah.
But
unlike Scott D'Amore.
Then there's also a backstage segment where Slick Johnson walks up to Larry Zbyszko and JB and he's like, I noticed there is no referee assigned to the main event. Is that an oversight, Larry Zbyszko? I've refereed 85 WCW main events. I have the credentials. Whereas Larry's like, no, we have a referee, and if I wanted you to know, you'd know. Go away.
I like that. Like, Larry should be like, oh yes, 85 WCW main events. I'm sure they all went really well.
There was not at all ref bumps and controversy in all of them. JB has Jarrett and Gale, the usual Jarrett promo, before Jarrett gives out about Monty doing his usual Monty promo. Jarrett does promise that Monty will get the next shot after he beats Christian, though. And then, right before the main event, JB... By the way, JB doing backstage interviews now, which is more... Like, traditionally TNA, people remember JB as the backstage interview guy, because...
We're slowly getting more and more TNA.
This is also the show where Dave Penzer starts as the ring announcer, so JB has moved backstage, Dave Penzer's doing the ring announcing now.
I always liked JB as a ring announcer, though.
Yeah, I did too.
Except when he fucked it up all the time.
Yeah, but that was part of his charm in the Asylum days when he'd say reigning and defending for every title match that's not a title match. But yeah, Christian does the big babyface promo beforehand, being like, I've worked toward everything for this. You know, people wonder whether I'm a mid-card comedy act. Well, can I rise above it? This is my chance to prove it, because that's how he rolls. And then the main event for the NWA World Championship. It is Christian Cage defeating the King of the Mountain, Jeff Jarrett, to become the new champion.
I still don't believe it.
Why don't you believe it?
I don't know. I never thought, I guess I just never put two and two together, like that this is where the first title run happens.
There was, like, PW Torch said it was a mild surprise, which does kind of interest me, because, like, obviously I wasn't watching TNA at the time, so I don't know what the pulse was of whether or not people thought Christian would win, but it does seem like people thought Jarrett would retain and maybe Christian would chase him a little longer, as opposed to Christian just coming in and beating him in their first match.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it, so goes to show.
Whereas, like, I think, like, no one wants a prolonged chase here. It's like, people are sick of Jarrett, people like Christian. It was the right choice to just go with Christian.
Yeah, but the thing is, just because it's the right choice doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's this company, so they're going to get heat for 6 months before Christian wins it when nobody cares.
And also, I did think that this was a pretty good, like, Jeff Jarrett main event, too. I mean, like, in that it was a 3-star match.
Yeah, he's had worse.
Which means it was a good match.
Like, I thought the Rhino match was better on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I don't know. This was my kind of like good shticky stuff.
Like, I didn't mind when they got down to, like, that's part of my problem at this stage, I do think. Whereas, like, I'm now at the point after 3 years of watching Jarrett, I can't deal with this bullshit anymore. Or, no, the opposite, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't deal with him pretending to be a normal wrestler, and I'm just like, just get to the bullshit. I'm fine with the bullshit at this point. Just, I don't want to watch you try to be a normal wrestler for like 65% of a match, and then you kick into the bullshit. Just get straight to the bullshit.
Embrace it. Acknowledge that this is the kind of wrestler you are.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's kind of similar to that Jay Lethal thing. Where he's like cosplaying a different kind of champion that he thinks he needs to be when he should just be embracing what he is.
Yeah, and like I've just watched too much of him at this stage to be like, I can invest in the idea of him doing a straight match because that's not what it's going to be. So just get to the thing it's going to be. Yeah, it was decent. It's not like a bad match. It's just I'm tired of Jeff. I'm just so tired of Jeff.
Fair enough.
Larry Z comes out with Dave Hebner, and the referee for this contest, Earl Hebner.
My God. And at this point, I was like, Jeff Jarrett's winning.
Mike Tenay does immediately reference Montreal.
And I was like, they're putting it in our heads early. They're going to do it.
They did.
Again.
Of course, for some reason, they did a spot where Jarrett got Christian in a sharpshooter, and then Earl, like, feigned to start calling for the bell, and Christian, like, grabbed his ankle and begged him not to. And I have no idea why we're doing that in this Christian Jarrett match.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Like, what are we doing Montreal spots for in this match?
I mean, because they still think it's, like, fun. And, like, I remember.
It's cool and edgy. It's like, what? No, stop it. Christian did have some nice white and gold gear. His I'm winning a world title gear.
I liked it. I mean, I don't know. Jarrett and Christian are, like, this weird, like, mirror of each other. Where it's like, one's if you take the dark path, and one's if you take the righteous path.
But Christian's a much better heel than Jarrett as well, though.
I didn't mean, like, in that sense. Just career.
Oh, just in terms of just general?
Yeah.
Christian's like you're a kind of upper mid-card goof, but you do it the right way, and Jarrett's like you're an upper card, mid-card goof, but you do it the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, one guy did it right, one guy did it wrong.
Christian misses a crossbody off the top of the floor, hits the rail, which allows Jarrett to get the heat. They do multiple ref bumps. Jarrett slid through Christian's legs and took out Earl Hebner's ankle for the ref bump. This allowed Gale to distract Christian, allowing Jarrett to hit a top rope stroke, but Christian kicked out. Jarrett then whips Christian into Hebner, causing another ref bump. Christian hit an unprettier, but Slick Johnson runs out. Jarrett kicks out. Johnson saw Jarrett low blow Christian. He was going to DQ Jarrett. It wasn't a thing that was reinforced, and I think it's a thing that does need to be reinforced, but like title changes hands on a DQ. So the idea that Jarrett doesn't want Slick Johnson to DQ him is right for TNA because he would lose the title. The commentary didn't reinforce that, but it's a thing that's so niche in TNA storytelling in terms of like titles change hands on the DQ that I do think they have to bring it up. Like, for the most part, the heel would be fine with getting disqualified in that instance, but title changes hands, so he can't get disqualified.
Exactly.
Jarrett took out Slick. Christian tries to unprettier Gale, but Jarrett hits him with a guitar. Christian kicks out. Gale went to ran at Christian, but he powerbombed her. Christian unprettier for the win. Crowd rushed the ring, hold Christian aloft as the new NWA World Champion.
It's a great visual to have, like, you know, big babyface win and the crowd come to him.
Yeah, they like fill the ring as well. Like that ring is full to the brim of people.
Yeah, it's scarily so. My favorite guy was like, even when it was like completely full, there was one guy like Matt Hardying the ropes on the outside, and I was like, you're gonna die.
Those people more than likely did not sign waivers either. So if those people did die, there's a lawsuit in there. Yeah,
the ring just like buckles. Well, didn't that happen once?
That the ring collapsed under a fan running?
Yeah, with like a ton of fans were in it, and the ring like just collapsed.
I don't remember, but that does. I have like a vague memory of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like ECW. Yeah, it was the Gangsters versus Public Enemy. Let me see if I can find them. I have like it's just everyone's in the fucking ring and it just starts to like tumble over to the side.
ECW rings is very trustworthy as well to do something like that in.
Yeah. That's the one guy who like jumped off just a second before it all collapsed.
That motion was actually what caused it to collapse.
If they had kept the momentum, it would have been fine.
Yeah, it was actually perfectly evenly distributed until he got out of there and suddenly everything started tipping over. The TNA ring's clearly sturdier because it did hold up to being full of people.
Much to Jeremy Borash's relief.
Yeah, so it was JB who came up with the idea to allow the fans to rush the ring to celebrate with Christian. Dixie Carter joked that if the ring broke from the weight of fans, the expense came out of his paycheck. So JB is happy it all went well. But yeah, Christian is your new NWA World Champion, so we'll get a babyface title run.
It's certainly better than Jeff Jarrett being that champion.
We have not had a meaning. Actually, no, we had Raven. We had Raven during the summer. I was going to say we haven't had a meaningful babyface title run since like 2003. Actually, no, even longer because AJ was a heel. God, we've had very few babyface title runs in the history of this company.
Yeah, because it's all been Jarrett.
But like even like AJ was a heel for the first two. No, the second one he was a babyface. So but the second two only lasted like a combined 6 weeks. So.
Yeah.
But AJ's first run where he was champ for a few months, but he was also a heel. So, and Ron was a heel. God damn it. Yes. Everyone's a heel in this company.
Yeah, because that's all they know is like heel champion, babyface chase.
Yeah, of the like going on 4 years of this company so far, I'm pretty sure like a cumulative 5 months of it maybe have had a babyface champion.
Yeah.
6 maybe, but not much.
It's wild. Like a babyface champion is harder to book, but like not that much harder.
Yeah, it's not that don't do it that often. Plus you gotta give fans hope. You can't just have that much heat. No one cares.
Yeah. Especially with Jarrett.
Oh, definitely with Jarrett.